Well, it is officially time for March Madness. We have several local teams that are in the NCAA tournament on the men's side. And as we're doing this, the women's bracket's actually being announced live for us, so we'll kind of fill them in as we go along. But we do know Iowa State is in, the Iowa men are in, Northern Iowa is in, as well as Illinois. So over the next couple minutes, I guess 45 minutes or so, we're going to talk about those teams and kind of break down the brackets. We're joined by the sports director at WOI, Raina Garcia, and WQAD sports anchor reporter Jenna Miner. I am Corey Kuppler. We appreciate you guys watching. We'll probably do this a few times throughout the NCAA tournament and just kind of keep you guys, I guess, abreast and into what we're doing and covering over the next couple of weeks here for the NCAA March Madness. Raina, we'll start with you in Iowa State, a team that you followed really close this year. We've watched them from a distance, if you will, from the Quad Cities here. They're in the tournament, and they're a 2 seed, and they're down in St. Louis. How excited are you for that?
I am excited because it's not too far of a drive. So anytime you don't have to fly with all your gear or make an extremely long drive, that's a win in itself. So above anything else. But it's also cool because Iowa State fans are known for traveling really well. We saw them turn out over in Kansas City for the Big 12 tournament. So I imagine we'll see something similar for St. Louis. So that'll be fun to kind of have what will feel like a home game atmosphere. But I think they have a pretty favorable draw looking at kind of the teams that they have in there. They're going up against Tennessee State, the 15 seed. You would like to think that it should be a comfortable win for the Cyclones. I mean, they're coming off of some really strong performances in the Big 12 tournament. I mean, obviously, things did not end how they had hoped, losing that heartbreaker to Arizona the other night, but that's probably some of the best basketball I've seen them play all season long against a team who's probably considered one of the front runners to be at least a Final Four team, if not possibly win the whole thing. Came down to a last second shot, which was an insane shot by Jaden Bradley. So, but when you look at the other side, if they're able to get past Tennessee State, which again, I think a lot of people assume they will, then you're awaiting the winner of Kentucky Santa Clara. And I feel like Iowa State has a pretty good chance regardless of who they face in that too. So I think this is looking pretty favorable for them to move on to Chicago.
So they open up, as you mentioned, with Tennessee State. They've never lost to Tennessee State. They are 4-0 against Tennessee State, the only times they've played them. And I'm trying to see, the last time they played them would have been, let's see, 2004. Nope. Largest margin victory. It would have been 2009, November of 2009. They beat them 84-53. Yeah, this is a team that they can score in bunches. They know how to play some good defense, which they've done. They've had stretches, though, where they don't play well. And not necessarily in the game, but they had a stretch there. It was about mid-season where they didn't play well, and they kind of really turned things around. TJ Otzelberger, a coach that has taken this team to the Sweet 16 twice in his career. So Iowa State, I think, yeah, like you said, is definitely a team that can get to Elite Eight, Final Four status. Just depends on how it all shakes out for them. Jenna, what do you think about the Cyclones?
Yeah, well, I mean, I just agree with everything you guys are saying. I mean, them taking on Tennessee State first, like Raina said, hopefully that'll be an easy win for them and they could move on from there. So, yeah, it's been fun, like you said, Cuff, for us kind of watching from a distance with them. But yeah, I agree with everything you guys said about it for sure.
Real quick, I just said off the top that we're going to be checking the women's bracket. Iowa State is in. They just got announced. They are the number 8 seed. They are going to Storrs, Connecticut. So UConn's the number 1. They're going to Storrs. They play the 8-9 game against Syracuse. So Iowa State women in the NCAA tournament. Coach Fennelly taking his team to Storrs, Connecticut. It's a tall task. They can win the first one, but that is a tall task for sure. Raina, since we're still talking about Iowa State and the women now, this is a team that at the beginning of the year, high expectations, injuries kind of hurt them a little bit, and then they also went through that stretch where they lost quite a few games. Where's this team at now as far as going into the NCAA tournament?
Well, yeah, it's just been a roller coaster of a season for them because, like you mentioned, coming into the season, there was high expectations. You have Jada Williams coming in from Arizona, really exciting transfer. And then you have that core of Audie Crooks, Ariana Jackson, and Addie Brown coming back. All just seem to get better every year. And things started off really strong. And then injuries started to pile up. So then you had the injury to Ariana Jackson shortly after, or and Addie Brown as well. That's when that losing streak, started, and we saw things kind of tumble. But as they got Ariana back, they got Addie back, it seemed like things were trending back upwards, and they kind of returned to form as a team we expected to see and that we did see early part of the season. I just think it's been a consistency issue ever since, getting those two back. We've seen them play some really great games, and then you have a game like they had against Arizona State in the Big 12 tournament, which was kind of obviously, that's a great team, but that was a team they also beat pretty comfortably the last time they had played them. I was there for that game and was kind of shocked by, how much they beat up on a very, very good Arizona State team. So it's been so up and down. We know what they can be. It's just a matter of will their shooting be on? I know defense has been kind of a struggle for them as well. I mean, if they can get it to Audie Crooks, Addie Brown is hitting shots, Jada Williams hitting shots, things look good. But as you said, the buzzsaw of UConn, that's a tough task, but who knows? It's March. Anything can happen.
So Crook's one of the best players in the country for sure. She's got how many 40-point games, 4 or 5 40-point games this season or something like that. And obviously a double machine. You get her the ball in the paint, you get her ball anywhere near the basket, and it's pretty much a guarantee. So see if Iowa State can get that first round win. They would have UConn waiting in the wings, a team that has been number 1 all year, undefeated, and I believe probably hasn't lost. I know they haven't lost anybody, but have been beating everybody by at least 15, 20 points, if not more, throughout the season. Coach Ariama, really good program out there. It's kind of crazy to think that, though, after they lose Paige Beckers, that they're even better than what they are last year. They are this year. So, all right, let's move on to Iowa. A team that, and we'll start with the Iowa men because the Iowa women have not been announced yet. The Iowa men, they enter the bracket first year for head coach Ben McCollum. They're a 9 seed. They are headed to South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina. No, Tampa. I'm sorry. They're headed to Tampa. They're headed to Tampa. Great job by Ben McCollum this year. If you would have told me when he got hired back in March that this team was going to make the NCAA tournament, I wouldn't have believed you maybe, just because I knew they were young. As far as team experience, team chemistry, things of that nature, they were young. And a new system, a new coach, everything that goes into that. But Ben McCollum proved that he can coach, first of all, getting Iowa to 21 wins and back into the NCAA tournament. What a job he did. Jen, I'll start with you. What has impressed you about Iowa this year?
Yeah, well, I just remember going to, Ben McCollum's opening press conference and him saying that he just doesn't want his team to have a sense of arrival because they're all so new. And I feel like they did a really good job of, despite being so new, going out there and, playing really well, making NCAA tournaments. Obviously, very exciting for them. But I'm very interested to see how they do against Clemson and how they do in the tournament, just because, we've seen them have some really standout games, but then we've also seen them drop some games that they probably shouldn't have, like mid-February, the loss to Maryland, the recent loss to Penn State in the regular season. So, having some losses like that, but then, they played Michigan really closely. It's like, so I'm just very excited to see how they are in the NCAA tournament. And I think it's just very exciting for Hawkeye fans to, have this new era and for them to make the big dance.
Their bracket, as I look at it, they would, if they win, if they beat Clemson, they would have the top seed, Florida, waiting in the wings for them. Florida has the play-in game waiting to play that one. Florida's the number 1 seed and the defending national champion. So a tall task there. But again, when Iowa plays well, Raina, Bennett Sturts, you got to see him last year in Drake. You got to see Coach McCollum in Drake last year. He could put a game plan together like no other, right?
Absolutely. I mean, really watching this core from last year to this year, it's been really interesting to see how they've transitioned to the Power 5 level. I mean, we saw what they did at Drake. They ran the Valley, which was still pretty impressive considering they were a new team. I know a lot of them played together at Northwest, and so they kind of had some continuity, but still a fairly new team. And so kind of the same thing at Iowa. But one thing that stood out to me last year is, remember when they were in the NCAA tournament, they got that win over Mizzou, and I think that shocked a lot of people. But I think that was Ben McCollum's game plan at its best. It was executed at its best, playing that kind of a slower tempo. They like to slow teams down and make it a slugfest, and they don't seem afraid of the moment. Like, I think that's what's really cool about this team. Like, when they got a lot of, his Drake transfers, when they got to the Big Ten, it's like it took some adjusting for sure. And I think you saw that play out over the course of the season. But I don't think you ever felt like the moment was too big for them. I think it was a lot of like learning on the fly. And then when you're led by a guy like Bennett Sturts, who can really, you know, turn it on and tell the guys, hey, I'm going to put you guys on my shoulders and we're going to win this game. I mean, I think that's going to be times 10 in the tournament because, this is it for him, And so I think you're going to see a really motivated team, and it would not shock me to see them make a run just because we saw that a little bit last year. I mean, ultimately they ran into a buzzsaw of Texas Tech, which was just a matter of they kind of got outsized. I mean, Tech was so good last year. So I think they have that experience under their belt, and I think they use that as motivation to try and make a run here at Iowa.
McCollum is only the second coach to bring an Iowa team into the NCAA tournament in his first year. He joins the company of Dr. Tom Davis. So that's some pretty good company if you're an Iowa fan and you like, oh yeah, Dr. Tom. I'm pretty sure, I may be wrong on this, but I don't think he ever lost a first round game in the NCAA tournament, Dr. Tom Davis. So if Ben McCollum can get that first round win, that would be awesome. McCollum all time in NCAA tournament play. Now, mind you, some of this is at the Division II level. He is 36-8 all time. He's 35-7 at the Division II level. And like you mentioned, Raina, last year Drake went 1-1 in the NCAA tournament. So, and this is their first appearance since 2023. So 3 years. Let's see. Iowa's been a 9 seed one other time. That was back in 1992. They have won 3 games over NCAA tournament teams this year. They beat Nebraska, they beat UCLA, and they beat Ohio State. So they're no slouch when it comes to playing good teams, or a team like Clemson, who was the 29th seed overall. And I believe their leading scorer is R.J. Godfrey, around 12 points a game for him. So obviously he'll be the focus for Iowa as they're putting their game plan together. I'm trying to see when they play. They are a Friday game in Tampa. So they'll play Friday, Saturday if they win on Friday. So anything else about Iowa we want to mention or we should talk about before we move on? I'm still waiting to see the Iowa women get announced yet, but they have not been announced as of yet. We do know they'll be playing in Iowa City. Anything else on the Iowa men or other players that we need to talk about for the Iowa men?
I guess off the top of my head, I just remember last year Isaiah Howard was a guy who really gave a spark to obviously Drake at the time coming off the bench, and just he had some electrifying dunks, threes, and so I think he's a player to watch this time around, of someone who really steps up under the bright lights.
I'd be curious to see how Iowa's bench does. I know Alvaro comes off the bench. They got a few other guys. They had 26 bench points, I believe, the other day in their loss to, was it not Wisconsin? Who did they lose to in the Big Ten tournament? I can't remember.
Ohio State.
Ohio State, yes. In the game, yeah. So in that game, they had 23 or 26 bench points, which is key for Iowa. Obviously, Bennett Sturts can't do it all. He's been playing 40 minutes just about every game. At some point, that does catch up to you. So I think this little bit of a break that they're going to have from losing in the Big Ten tournament to then playing on a Friday, the travel day and all that factored in, I think that's going to help Sturts at least with the minutes that he logs, because he's the guy. And everybody knows that you play Iowa, you've got to stop Bennett Sturts. Don't let him score his 20 or more because you may lose. Iowa has won games where he hasn't done that, but I think he's got to really step up, get his points, and get the rest of that offense involved for sure if Iowa's going to try to make a run. And again, beating Clemson is one thing, and then moving on to play the national champion, defending national champion in Florida in Tampa, which is essentially a home game for them, would be a tall task for sure. Well, let's move on to the other team, Raina. You mentioned Northern Iowa. Let's talk about them real quick.
Yeah, I think what really got people paying attention to them was the run they made in the Missouri Valley Conference tournament. They were kind of an under the radar team, throughout the regular season. They had some good wins. I know they got a good win over Bradley during the regular season. But 4 wins in 4 days to really run the gamut there and win it all. It was just an incredible run for Ben Jacobson and his squad. And they're a 12 seed. That's always a dangerous place to be. 12
5-12
seeds are
game.
known for being bracket busters. So
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see if they can play that role and spoil the party for St. John's.
This is a team, like you mentioned, that maybe was a little bit under the radar, obviously, going into that MVC tournament. Nobody really paying too much attention to them. But obviously, some really, really good players there. We're 1 year removed from a guy from our area, and that was, and I can't think, Ty Anderson.
Titan Anderson,
Yeah,
yeah.
Titan Anderson from North Scott was on the team last year, and I believe he's playing overseas now. But overall, I mean, just a really good team. I'm trying to pull up some stats here real quick on some of them. Led in scoring by Trey Campbell, just under 14 points a game. Leon Bond, the third, scoring 12 points a game. And then Will Hornseth at 11. So 3 guys averaging double digits. And then Ben Schweiger, just under 10 at 9.9 a game. So again, a team that can shoot pretty good. They shoot, let's see, from the field, they are 47% from the field, and they shoot 35% from 3. So pretty balanced that way. Just see what they can do. Like you mentioned, they play St. John's in their opener, and that 5-12 game, it seems to be every year there's a team that a 12 seed that upsets and makes a nice little run. Also in their pod, if they happen to win, they would play Kansas, a Big 12 team, or Cal Baptist is who's that other bracket there. So if Northern Iowa were to upset St. John's, it would be either Kansas or Cal Baptist waiting for them in the second round. So still waiting on the Iowa women to get announced. Let's move on, Jenna. Let's talk a little bit about Illinois, a team that we'll cover a little bit, and you're heading down to cover the Illini in Greenville, South Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Illinois, obviously, they come off a heartbreaker in the Big Ten tournament. That quarterfinal game, they lost 91-88 overtime to Wisconsin, and this is the second time that they've lost in overtime to Wisconsin this season. So, I think that, for them to start and end the Big Ten tournament in the same day, maybe sort of a little bit of a wake-up call for them. I mean, listening to the sound, from them in the locker room after that, they know obviously, the next time they lose that's it, right? So I think that's the motivation, but they were trying to take positives from that, really focusing on they have, a little bit more time to prepare for the NCAA tournament. And they're taking on Penn, which is exciting for, I guess, sports fans around our area because a familiar face, Fran McCaffery, is the coach for Penn. He led them to the Ivy League title over Yale in overtime. So that's going to be a fun little matchup to see Fran McCaffery match up with Illinois. But, the Fighting Illini, great season. The most wins in the regular season since 2006 for Illinois, and obviously just so much depth on the team. You got the Big Ten freshman of the year, Keaton Wagler, another great freshman in the Big Ten, David Mirkovic does a lot of great things. Andrei Stojakovic, you got the Visic twins, Zvonimir and Tomislav. Just a lot of really good players for Illinois, a lot of depth. Jake Davis, obviously, as well. Kylan Boswell, I can't forget him either. But just a lot of really good depth. Very excited for them. But if looking at the bracket, if they beat Penn, move on to the round of 32, the 6 seed North Carolina is in there, so that could be someone they could potentially run into. And then they have the 2 seed Houston. So, yeah.
Yeah, Illinois also in that South bracket where Iowa's at, which will be down, and I don't remember where the South bracket's at. It doesn't say on my bracket here. But anyway, Nebraska's in there, Illinois is in there, so 3 Big Ten teams in that South bracket. Illinois, tough loss in the Big Ten tournament to lose to Wisconsin in overtime the way they did. Those players afterwards kind of took it to heart. But this is a team that I want to say midway through the season, everybody's like, wow, this is a team that has the offense that can definitely make a run at a national championship. There, I believe I saw Seth Davis at one point mention that Illinois could be a national runner-up team. When they're hitting their shots, they're definitely that team.
Yeah.
When they don't play defense, they're not that team. And that's one thing, that's an area where they've kind of fallen off recently. Is they got to step up on that defensive end. Coach Underwood knows it, and the players know it. That's what they talked about after their loss to Wisconsin was when we don't rebound, when we don't defend, that's when teams get back into it. They had a 15-point lead in that game against Wisconsin and lost it, and then lost in overtime. So now they can't do things like that. So yeah, we'll see if Illinois can knock off Penn. You mentioned Fran McCaffrey. It's kind of hard not to root for Fran McCaffrey. He was a good guy at Iowa. Everybody seemed to like him, and just didn't end the way that he wanted. But to bring Penn back to the NCAA tournament, what a great story that is for sure.
Yeah.
Is there any team out there for you guys that you think, obviously outside of the ones that we're covering, as you look at the field of 68, is there a team out there you're like, this team could make a run and potentially get to a Final Four?
Let me pull up the bracket here.
Well, I have one team that pops up right off the bat, and maybe I'm speaking for our fellow sports member Jonah Krell here, but Arizona is obviously someone that comes to mind for me. I mean, I know Renee talked a little bit about, the heartbreaking loss for Iowa State, and then, Arizona going on and, winning the Big 12 conference. I feel like, they have a really solid group, and I could see them for sure in the Final Four.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. I think being able to watch them up close, I mean, at the Big 12 tournament, it's just, man, I mean, Iowa State was giving them like I said, that was some of the best basketball I've seen them play. Suffocating defense. They were playing super physical, shooting really well. Milan Momcilovic, I think, tied his season high 8 threes. And Arizona just had an answer. Like they kind of got behind at the beginning of the game, but they weren't rattled. They just brought it right back to Iowa State. And I think when you're a team that can, maybe you don't start off the best, but you can stay the course and be right there at the end, and you have a guy that can make a shot like that, man, that it's hard not to consider them as the front runner, as so many people have predicted, especially, like I said, being able to see with my own eyes in person. It was just, it was really crazy to see.
Yeah, for sure. I'll throw one out there. I will say another Big 12 team. I think the Big 12 is a lot better than what people are giving credit to this year. Everybody's like, oh, SEC got 10 teams and the Big 10 got 9 teams. I think the Big 12 is really good. And I'm going to say Houston is a team that can make a run, potentially getting to the Final Four. They start, I believe, 2 freshmen. They have a sophomore, and they bring another freshman off the bench, which isn't typical of a Houston team. They usually have some experience, but this team can play. They can score with the best. They have scored with the best. They've played with the best. You mentioned Arizona, Iowa State, Kansas. They've played all those teams. They beat all those teams. So yeah, I think Houston might be a team out there that could make a run and potentially get Elite Eight, Final Four, for sure. Sleeper, you got a sleeper maybe that could
I might have
pull off
one.
a couple upsets?
I might have one. I don't know. It's I don't know. This might be my crazy take. But I like St. Louis, and maybe it's a little bit of I'm from Terre Haute, from Indiana State's there. Love Josh Schertz. I think he's a great coach, and obviously Robbie Avila. I don't know. I think it'd be fun. I think let me look at the bracket again. They're up against Georgia, the 8-9 game. But then, there's a chance they could run into Michigan. I don't know how crazy I want to go here, but I would like to see St. Louis do something. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah. Raina, you got a sleeper out there you want to keep
I'm
an eye
looking
on?
here. I don't know if it can be considered much of a sleeper because they're still pretty high seed, but I like Nebraska. I've just really enjoyed watching what they've done this season. Of course, Hawkeye fans know some familiar faces over there. Price Sanford has been tearing it up. I really feel like they're a team that can get hot. I mean, we've seen them play, obviously, throughout the Big Ten regular season. They're just a team with so much heart. And they're guys who believe. They, regardless of who they're going up against, they feel like they can win every game, and that's a dangerous mentality when you're in the tournament and when you're going up against these teams. Because I think it looks like they might be up against possibly Vanderbilt if they get past their first round matchup, which is another really good team. But
Right.
I don't know. Sometimes it's just about a styles clash and which team is just the better like mismatch, and I think that could possibly be them.
I will say I'm going to go with a Big Ten team, and I'm going to say Wisconsin as a
Yep.
5 seed. They open up against High Point, potentially playing either Arkansas or Hawaii in the second round, probably Arkansas. But I like the way that they defend. I like the way that they can shoot the three. Nick Boyd, and I'm forgetting the other guy's name off the top of my head that went off against Iowa.
Blackwell.
Blackwell, James
Oh, yeah.
Blackwell. Yeah, Blackwell. Anyway, those two guys filled it up for 69 points in that game against Iowa. You know you got to stop them. Now they're missing one starter. Maybe he gets back by the time that they get to the NCAA tournament here. But I think Wisconsin's is kind of a dangerous team at a 5 seed. They wouldn't play Arizona until the Elite Eight. So by then, if you get that far, yeah, you're feeling your groove a little bit, and you could be playing some pretty good basketball at that point. So again, a tough task to potentially play in Arizona and beat a team like Arizona, but it is March Madness, and anything can happen. That is for sure. So
yeah, I mean, if they're clicking like they were in the Big Ten tournament again, and how they were playing against Illinois, yeah, I think that's a really good one.
So the Iowa women haven't been announced yet. We know they're in. We know they're probably going to get a 2 seed. Let's talk about them a little bit. Jan Jensen at the beginning of the year, and I guess for us in the media, I don't know how you guys thought, but for myself, looking at this team and looking at the lack of experience, if you will, as far as older classmen, and even Jan Jensen saying that this was their youngest class since 2012 as far as experience. I think this team has far exceeded anything that maybe anybody thought of starting out the year. But what a coaching job Jan has done, because we know she can coach. She's a fantastic coach. But this team has done tremendous things to be able to get a 2 seed. What do you guys think about Iowa?
Yeah, I've been impressed because at the beginning you kind of wondered how all the pieces would fit together, just because you mentioned how young they were, and you were wondering like who's really gonna take charge. I mean, you lose a player like Lucy Olsen, and so you're like, who's gonna step up and be their next volume scorer? And that's something that they kind of had to work out throughout the season. But then we've had the emergence of Ava Hayden, who just gets better by the game. You see her confidence go up. You even see her playing with a little bit of an edge, which I love. I love seeing that come out of her. It just seems like, despite the injuries that they've dealt with, I know the injury to Taylor McCabe was a huge blow for them, but I've just seen how they managed to bounce back and adjust. I think that's what's been the most impressive part, is how it's fit together and how they've weathered the storm of kind of those shaky moments to be put together a really, really good season.
Yeah, and kind of bouncing off of that, I mean, talking about Taylor McCabe, being out for the season and everything, just how tough that is to bounce back from, and how they've been able to do that. And I think we really saw them regain confidence with that ranked win over Washington. I was at that game and got to see them in person. So I think too, I mean, you notice the teams that deal with adversity during the season, I feel like that's very important to learn how to handle that stuff. And you see those teams kind of, come out strong in March, right? So I think that's important for them to go through that and for them to kind of gel together. But I want to throw out, Cuff and I, we have one of our local players on the team, Journey Houston, and she's been really big, getting some really good minutes off the bench. And it's been really fun to watch her sort of blossom and find her role on the team as well.
Yeah, another player that's kind of stepped up from the bench, if you will, once McCabe got hurt, is an Addie Deal. Again, you knew she was great as a freshman coming in, kind of got thrust into a role that maybe she wouldn't have had, and maybe more minutes than she normally would have had this season, but has accepted that role, accepted that challenge, has played well, and has stepped up in times when they've needed her. Obviously, you mentioned Ava Hayden, but Hannah Stolke, another one's been battling injuries lately, but a player that knows what it takes come March to win games. obviously she was on the 2 national runner-up teams as a freshman and a sophomore. So she knows how to get it done in March and can pull some of these younger players along that haven't been in these pressure situations. Like, hey, it's fine. We may be up or down, whatever the situation is. Just keep it even keel, keep it on a level there, and see how you play once maybe the cards are stacked against you, or maybe you're just blowing a team out, whatever the deal may be. The other good thing is that we know Iowa will be hosting. They have only lost 1 game at home this season. So the Hawkeyes, when they play at home, are tough to beat. I want to say the last time they lost in the NCAA tournament at home was 3 years ago. They won their first round game and they lost to Creighton, I believe, about 3 years ago. Maybe it was 4 years ago in the NCAA tournament. They were hosting, I remember. They were a 2 or 3 seed, and they got upset by Creighton in the second round. I believe it was a last second shot by Creighton, and then Iowa didn't make their last second shot. So, but the Hawkeyes will definitely be at home for the first 2 rounds, and then potentially, I believe, out in Sacramento is where they're going to be headed for the regionals after that. Anything else you guys want to mention or talk about before we wrap it up, before we get into all the NCAA coverage later this week?
Should we mention the Illinois women very quickly?
Yes, we should. They're going to head
Yes.
to Nashville. Yes.
Yes. So, with the Illinois women, obviously, they're a very young group this year. That was the big question coming into the season. I mean, last year they had such strong players with Kendall Bostic, Mykyra Cook, Genesis Bryant, and with them graduating, it was just a big question mark. And I think it just shows how good of a coach Shauna Green is for her to, just get this group together. They start gelling. I mean, there's a former Hawkeye, Leah Guyton's on the team. And you just have people like Barry Wallace is so fun to watch. And just they had, some players that really stepped up this year. And I think for them to make the tournament again, I think is really huge for the team and for Shauna Green.
Yeah, young team for Shauna Green this year. A Clinton native. So from our neck of the woods here, and doing a great job down at Illinois. Has a former Iowa player on her team, and Leah Guyton, who transferred from Iowa last year to play with Illinois. She stepped up at times when they have needed. So, well, I hope you've enjoyed listening to the 3 of us talk about the NCAA and the brackets. You can always check out all of our information at WQAD.com. Raina, what's your website?
WeAreIowa.com.
So follow WOI and Raina and Trey, and over at WQAD, follow myself, Jenna, and Jonah throughout the NCAA tournament. We'll have all the coverage of your local teams, all the inside, everything you want to know. We'll be doing this a couple more times throughout the brackets and throughout the tournament. So if you got any questions or anything for us, again, shoot us an email. If you got a story idea for us, shoot us an email. We're always looking for things to talk about come NCAA tournament time. And of course, there's always the Locked On series that we have. They're going to be breaking down the NCAA bracket even more than what we've done. They're going to take all 68 teams from both sides, the men's and women's, and kind of break it all down. So we hope you enjoyed this, and we will see you guys along the tournament trail.